Support for Colorado Today comes from Credit Union of Colorado. With access to over 30,000 ATMs and a mobile app, they're dedicated to offering the services of a big bank with a heart. Learn more at honestlygood.org.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Safeway. Their pharmacists are here to help, offering a wide range of vaccines including flu, COVID, pneumonia, and RSV immunizations. Visit your local Safeway or schedule online at safeway.com/pharmacy.
This Saturday, neighbors and businesses are coming together and rolling up their sleeves for the Colfax cleanup, and they're looking for volunteers. If you decide to help out, you'll be treated to coffee from Hoek & Colfax, lunch bites from Mama Joe Biscuits, Bluebird District swag, and a free ticket to the Bluebird Bodega. If you're interested in making the place look nicer and receiving all these perks, you can find more info at the link in our show notes. I'm Arlo Perez Esquivel. Coming up, you'll get an update on one of the victims in the Evergreen High School shooting and hear what a researcher on extremism worries about when it comes to the shooter.
He had been sharing, symbols and code words that extremists use.
Then, new evidence that the drought on the Front Range is happening fast.
Cities like Denver, Boulder, and Longmont, Colorado Springs are going to become more and more dependent on water that we take from the west and pump to the east.
And a reminder that this is a perfect time of year to find love, especially if you have 8 hairy legs.
They're going to do their little dance and drum set, hopefully have a successful mate.
It's Thursday, September 18th. Here's the news in Colorado today. The 2 students shot at Evergreen High School last week are still in the hospital. That information as of late yesterday. One of them is in serious condition, and the other is in a worse critical condition. The uncle of Matthew Silverston, one of the boys in the hospital, shared a video message yesterday on behalf of the family.
So that the community, the world knows the great, kind, gentle kid that Matthew is.
He said Matthew's fighting for his life at the hospital, and the uncle, Chris Kaler, shared some information of Matthew's life story.
My sister adopted Matthew out of foster care. She received him when he was about 6 months old. It was just heart-wrenching to see this little baby. But he grew with the love and tenderness from my sister because she just has so much love to share with everybody. And Matthew really has absorbed that.
He read from a letter that described Matthew's acts of heroism during the shooting at Evergreen.
So many of us owe our safety to you. It's truly an honor to be your classmate. Stay strong. We are all rooting for you.
He says it'll be a long road ahead for Matthew and that they're going to need support from everybody. We're still waiting to see what law enforcement says about the, quote, radicalization of the suspected shooter. But over the past few days, we've learned that the FBI was already investigating a social media account that might have belonged to him, even before this attack. CPR's Yesenia Robles talked to the head of the research team that alerted the FBI to this account. She's here to tell us more. Yesenia, who tipped off the FBI, and more importantly, why?
So the tip came from the Anti-Defamation League, or the ADL. It's a nonprofit that fights anti-Semitism and extremism. A couple of months ago, they noticed an online account that was talking about planning a mass shooting, embracing hate and violence. The researchers didn't know who the person was online, but the ADL has now said it belongs to the person suspected of shooting himself and 2 classmates at Evergreen High School. So we know the FBI did open an investigation into the account in July, but they did not figure out who the account belonged to at that time, and they did not have any probable cause to make an arrest.
You talked to the head of the counter-extremism and intelligence at the ADL. about what they found in the suspects' accounts. I know this is tough to talk about, but what did they say?
Yes, the expert's name is Oren Siegel. He said the person posting under this account was developing what he called a deep fascination with mass shooters.
He had been sharing, symbols and code words that extremists use, referencing past school shooters, and even, beginning to amass tactical gear.
Yeah, one example they saw was a video the shooter posted where they modeled the tactical gear.
This is tricky to report on because we don't want to jump to conclusions about the shooter's motives. In fact, it's important to let the investigation fully play out. But it is newsworthy to share what experts in extremism see in these accounts that appear to belong to the suspect. So what does Siegel see beyond the obvious? Do the posts reflect any trend that can help us understand why school shootings continue to happen?
Yeah, Siegel says that the type of hate and extremism that the organization researches and tracks is shifting, and he wants people to understand that change. He says instead of extremism and violence focused on ideology, they're seeing a trend where it's the gore and the violence that are the point.
What is different here, what is disturbing here, is that the attacks seem to be coming faster and quicker. The people seem to be getting younger, and the through line between them is this ecosystem of hate and violence. This is a pattern, not a coincidence.
To that point, he says what they saw from the person they believe to be the Evergreen shooter mirrors what they saw for young people who attacked schools in Wisconsin and Tennessee recently. That includes, and this is pretty terrible, but being on a site that's called Watch People Die.
Wow.
So you can see, Arlo, how that speaks to his comments about the violence and gore being the point.
People should be asking themselves, why does a platform like Watch People Die even exist? I think these are not unreasonable questions for people to ask, whether they've been in these communities that have been targeted or not.
Yeah, a website like that sounds awful. I kind of understand this shift, it's shifting away from ideology to violence for the sake of violence. But what is happening to cause that shift? What are they doing to help with that?
One group they want to reach is school leaders. They shared a report just a few weeks ago with superintendents across the country to help them better understand extremism in internet subcultures. But his point is that strategies need to change.
We all need to confront this crisis with a sense of urgency.
He says he's worried, otherwise it is bound to keep happening.
And Yesenia, also this week, you got more details about what exactly happened at Evergreen. Is there anything else that we should know?
So the sheriff's office is now saying the whole incident lasted about 9 minutes. The shooter shot 20 rounds, and the shooting started inside the school, and then the shooter went outside of the school, and that's where the second student was shot. They have not answered questions about where the gun came from or how this 16-year-old got a hold of it. We also know the school did not have a full-time school resource officer at that time. We've learned that parents at the school raised concerns about that just right before the shooting. But looking ahead, the school district now is trying to figure out how and when exactly to resume classes. They have said there will be armed security full-time there when the school reopens.
This is really critical reporting. Yesenia Robles, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's the basic mismatch between most battles over water in Colorado. Almost everyone lives east of the mountains. But most of the water, well, that's on the western slope. A new study suggests that soon this imbalance could become even worse and leave the Front Range communities desperate to build more water pipelines and reservoirs. CPR's climate reporter Sam Brash is here to fill us in. Sam, this study found that eastern Colorado is drying out faster than western Colorado. And I fear that I already know what is causing that.
Yeah, Arlo, maybe to nobody's surprise, it's climate change. So when you have a hotter atmosphere, it draws more moisture out of the landscape below it. Alex Rugg-Stebbins is a scientist at the National Center for Atmospheric Research in Boulder and the lead author of this new study. And she and her colleagues ran a bunch of climate models to figure out what that means for both sides of Colorado.
I mean, part of it was just like, I live here in Longmont and I wanted to know, what is my community going to experience? Like, what should I think about when I'm planting my garden?
Great question. And the results showed that all of Colorado is getting more arid. But to her surprise, the effect looks like it's going to be more pronounced and take effect faster east of the Continental Divide, that big line of mountains that splits water from the Pacific from water going to the Atlantic. By 2100, for example, eastern Colorado will experience a drop in soil moisture twice as big as western Colorado.
Wow, twice as big. Unfortunately, most people live where these drying trends are happening, and I don't foresee Denver moving to the western slope anytime soon. So what does that mean for the future of water in this area?
As you mentioned, this is an imbalance that has defined Colorado water politics for more than a century. We've seen that Front Range communities like Metro Denver, Colorado Springs, Aurora, they've built a sprawling networks of pipelines and reservoirs, and its entire purpose is to move water from western Colorado east across the Continental Divide. That's already controversial because when the West loses water, it means less water for farming and ranching. Wildlife like fish can suffer, along with opportunities for recreational activities like rafting. And all that might just get more amplified over time.
And at the same time, we hear about the Colorado River. It originates in the western slope, and it's been in a 20-year mega drought due to climate change.
Yeah, that's right. And the drought has already led to the driest conditions in at least 1,200 years, straining a river that delivers water to 7 states and Mexico. That's why historically a lot of climate research has focused on the western slope because it is the headwaters of this entire Colorado River basin. But Steven thinks it's time to pay attention to the Front Range because that's where Colorado live and where demand is growing. It might not be part of the Colorado River basin, but it's taking water that would otherwise be going to Colorado River communities.
The growing population and the drying on the east is probably going to mean that if we don't change the way we use water, cities like Denver, Boulder, and Longmont, Colorado Springs are going to become more and more dependent on water that we take from the west and pump to the east.
What this means is any decision about western slope water doesn't just impact Colorado. It's also going to affect people living in states like California, Nevada, Arizona that are heavily dependent on the Colorado River.
And those states, those are the ones that are currently negotiating about how to divide the river over the next few decades, right?
Yeah, that's right. So the rules to split up the Colorado River expire in 2026. States are currently, right now, discussing how to share the river even as it shrinks due to climate change. And this study suggests eastern Colorado could someday add another layer of complexity. And it's why Stebbins thinks the area deserves way more attention from climate scientists, because being able to accurately predict how much water Colorado needs right now and where it's going to need it later is going to be key to the future of the entire western United States.
CPR's climate reporter, Sam Brash. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you're like me, you may be ready to get your Halloween decorations up. Maybe got a big, hairy spider to tack on the wall. Well, the real ones are beginning their annual crawl around southern Colorado.
Oh, God. He turned.
Oh, my goodness.
It's tarantula mating season, and you could catch a glimpse of these creepy, or I guess some people find them cute, 8-legged critters now into October. KRCC's Shauna Lewis has seen this up close, and she's here to terrify me and tell me what's happening in the tarantula capital of the world. Hey there, Shauna. What are these spiders up to?
Well, not to terrify you, but it's the guy spiders who are out and they're looking for love.
They're going to do their little dance and drum set, hopefully have a successful mate. And if they're quick enough, they're able to get away and try and find another mate.
And if they aren't fast enough, those guy spiders could become dinner for their beloveds.
Yum.
We just heard from Dallas Hasselhun. He's a tarantula researcher at Eastern Michigan University. We met up near La Junta and set out to find some of the big spiders. They often look like dark spots scurrying across the road.
So right now he's trying to be big and scary, even though he's about as heavy as a quarter. So I'm just going to slowly edge him into a little container because I don't want to get bit.
So these two-tone brown tarantulas are on the move around the Comanche National Grassland. That's more than 400,000 acres of rolling shortgrass prairie and cactus-studded canyons that span across southeastern Colorado.
Okay, so let's say that I want to get over my, arachnophobia, and I head over down to southern Colorado. How do I find them? Do I just start wandering the 400,000 acres and just squint my eyes and look? How do you do it?
Well, you could do that, and it is actually kind of what you do. But you could up your odds this way. Head out at dawn or dusk, take the dirt road south of La Junta into the grasslands. Dallas and I drove out a little earlier in the afternoon, and we saw pretty much nothing other than other people standing around looking for tarantulas. But after sunset, they started appearing like what seemed like everywhere. We were driving back under a full moon, and just in the headlight beams, it seemed like we were seeing at least one every few minutes.
Never did I think that they would be a tourism draw.
Pamela Dennehy is La Junta's tourism director. She said that people come from all over the country to take part in the city's Tarantula Festival.
Tarantula Festival.
Oh, yeah. La Junta has really embraced their annual visitors. Like local resident Angela Ayala, who has a booth filled with spidery swag at the festival.
We do custom t-shirts, of course the Tarantula Fest buttons, souvenir tarantulas. If you don't find them out south, you can get one custom here.
So along with getting some spider swag, you could also sign yourself up or a friend for a human hairy legs contest. I won't ask how you'll do with that. Or you could grab a few friends and enter in the 8-legged race.
That does sound like a unique experience. So let's say you do want to go there. When is this Tarantula Festival?
The Tarantula Festival is the last weekend in September, so it starts a week from tomorrow. I just checked the city's website, and sadly, the bus tours that take you out to see the tarantulas are full for this year. But it does have tips for a self-guided tour. So Hasselhun and other folks around La Junta would remind you that tarantulas only bite out of fear, so please don't try to grab them or scare them. And while it's good to take home photos and souvenirs, just leave the spiders right where they are.
So they can find love?
So they can find love.
KRCC's Shauna Lewis, thank you so much.
You bet.
Additional reporting for today's show came from CPR's Haley May. I wanted to take a moment to thank you for listening. We are seeing that more people are tuning in to Colorado today, and also because of people like you who share this with friends. So if you know someone else who might find value in getting their daily Colorado news in about 15 minutes, send a link their way. I'm Arlo Perez Esquivel. This is CPR News.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Safeway. Their pharmacists are here to help, offering a wide range of vaccines including flu, COVID, pneumonia, and RSV immunizations. Visit your local Safeway or schedule online at safeway.com/pharmacy.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Credit Union of Colorado. With access to over 30,000 ATMs and a mobile app, they're dedicated to offering the services of a big bank with a heart. Learn more at honestlygood.org.